Tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. I'm sick and tired of hearing about these tariffs. And what exactly are these tariffs? What's going on, y'all? I don't understand. I'm just as confused. So I just want to try to break it down so that me and you won't be confused all at the same time. You understand? I understand. First, let me do a disclaimer. My channel is about men and women making money and being healthy. I don't want to get real political, but I think there's some things that we need to talk about. And of course, if we're going to get this money, we need to know what's going on in politics to make sure we're getting this money the right way and we get money in the future. So listen up. When they're talking about these tariffs, first of all, what is a tariff? Okay, to make it plain and simple, tariffs is the tax they charge other countries to bring imports in, to bring stuff into our country. It's plain and simple. It's tax. And they tax these people because it's like every state has a different sales tax. Every country has a different tax on goods coming into their countries. And that makes sure the country makes some money off of these people who are making money off of us. So is it a good thing? I guess so. I mean, people need to pay to play. How much should the tariffs be? That's not up for me to decide. What is important to me today is why are we changing the tariffs? And this is where it gets confusing for me, because in the beginning, during the election, the pretender said he was changing the tariffs so that he can bring industries back to America, so America could be making more stuff, which is a great idea and a bad idea all at the same time. Because, yes, we need to be making our own stuff and buying our stuff that is made in America. Yes, I get it. But the cost that it takes to make certain things in America makes the prices that we would have to pay for those things extraordinarily higher. Nike said they will not build plants in America because it would raise the amount they sell their stuff for by 40%. Now, what 40%? Yeah, plain and simple. If you buy something for $100, now, if they sold that same shoe from a plant in America, it will cost $140. So that's the gist of it. Now, here's the thing. Why is that so? Well, because other countries' wages are not as expensive or as high as ours. So in other countries, they're still making $3 an hour, $5 an hour on the same job that we have, where we require $17 an hour plus. Those other countries have universal health care or different health care plans that help the people, where the companies don't have to invest in health care for their employees. Well, America has to invest in health care. So that's where it is where we don't really necessarily understand why so much stuff is coming in from other countries. It's cheaper to manufacture the stuff in other countries. So even for me, I once had an item I was getting made, and I reached out to some people in America for that item to be made. And for it to be made, and we're talking about multiple items. I think I wanted something like 800 of them at the time. And it was going to cost me $8 to $10 a unit to be made, where I could get that same item overseas for $2.50 a unit. So that was a whole lot. That was a big difference. And yeah, that the bottom line is I would have made more money by going with getting it made overseas than getting it made here. So that's that for me. Now, and going forward, the pretender changed what he said after the election and was like, we're trying to make them pay us more money because we'll be making money by bringing this stuff in. But I thought it was about bringing manufacturing back to America. Make up your mind. And so now I'm even more confused because what is it? What are you doing? So then, wait, but there's more. He did it. He raised the tariffs across the board. Got in a fight with Canada and got in a fight with China. China said, oh no, if you gonna raise our tariffs, we gonna raise your tariffs. Let's get it. And this fight didn't turn out well because what did it do? It sank the market. It crushed the stock market and we were losing big. So he came back and said, well, I'll put a 90-day hold on the tariff increase for everybody except for China because they're not agreeing with me. Because other people were trying to negotiate their tariff prices. So, but wait, if it was about bringing more money in, if it was about manufacturing in America, why do other countries have to negotiate? If that was the prime reason, something ain't right in that. Now, granted, the stock market crashed. So, of course, I'm guaranteeing you a lot of his rich buddies bought up a whole lot of stock at a cheap price so that they can hold on to it. And when the stock market come back, they get mega money. Plain and simple. It was a good idea if you had that kind of money to buy stock when the stock dropped. But in essence, in reality, what's really going on? You're bullying people to agree with you. That's all that it is. What does that have to do with the regular American? Now, for me, for one of my businesses, it doesn't touch. The only thing that it's going to do is make life harder for some people. So some people can't spend the amount of money that they normally can spend, which means they may not be able to spend money in my business. Now, what does that mean in other aspects? It means that if I was to try to buy merchandise from overseas that might sell great here, it's going to cost me an extra amount of money. An exorbitant, a higher amount of money because they're going to make me pay for the tariff prices. People don't understand that. Yes, of course, it sounds good, but if they have to pay more, they're going to include that more into the price that I have to pay for the goods that I want to sell. And then it's no longer advantageous, or even if it's advantageous, it may be more than I can afford to spend at the time. It may raise that price up that I was going to order something by 25%. I may not be able to afford that 25% at the time. Or even if I can afford that 25%, then I have to charge my customers 25% more. That's the only way we can do it. And that's what's going to happen across the board, is companies are going to charge you and me more for merchandise that we normally pay for. And that's across the board because people don't understand the amount of things that is coming in from other countries. Our food, the supermarket, are being supplied by other countries. No matter which supermarket you go to, they're getting produce, some are getting meats, they're getting stuff to go on the shelves. Hell, all of Aldi's is another country. Everybody is going to be hit by them raising the tariffs. And they're going to pass that over to us, the people on the low end, the people who buys these products. See, those people who making millions of dollars a year, they don't know what it costs to go into a grocery store. And even if they did know what it costs to go into a grocery store, they don't care because they're making enough money for it not to hurt them. But the average human being in our country is getting robbed at the grocery store right now. Egg prices are up. Cheese prices is up. Meat prices are up. Everything that you buy, the prices are up. We're getting robbed. And them people don't know no better. Them people don't care, be as long as they're feeding their pockets. So what does that mean about the tariffs? Is if the tariffs go up, we're going to pay more. And the pretender and his followers don't care. Okay, I'm lying. The pretender followers, his supporters, they care, but they're not going to tell the truth. They're not going to admit it. They're not going to say, oh, this is horrible for us. And they're going to come up with some way to validate their excuse for supporting him. Oh, well, you just got to wait it out. It gets better later. No, it doesn't. That's what they said about COVID. They said when COVID hit, the price was going to go up, and don't worry, and when we get this under control, we'll be okay. The prices went up and they never came back down. We're still paying high rent prices. We're still paying high food prices. We're still paying higher price for medication. And let's not get to talking about all of the companies that thrived during COVID are still thriving now. So let's be honest, it's not going to change. Once they understand that we will pay a certain amount of money, they're going to keep that at that price. So I don't care what anyone says. Oh, well, we got to give them a couple of years. We got to give it some time. Nope. I don't have time. I have today. I have tomorrow. And from history, see, I've been around for a long time already. Y'all see this? That's a long time I've been around. I've been around for a long time. And in that time, things have never returned back. Never. I remember when gas was 79 cents a gallon. It has never went back there. Once it went up from, I think we were paying something like 99 cents to $1.20 a gallon, and then the 9/11 hit. And once 9/11 hit, all gas prices shot up, and it shot way up to $4. And once it shot up to $4, it never went back to $1.19. Never. And we were happy to be paying $2.80. I use 93, and I'm happy to be paying $3.40. Because at one time it was $4.90. I was happy. So don't let them fool you. Don't let them say, oh, well, you got to give it time, or you got to let it work through. And, oh, they said it was going to be bad in the beginning, but it'll get good in the end. Where has that worked at? Where has that worked at? That only works good on some football games. You know, sometimes, them people, sometimes they score big in the beginning, or they can be losing bad in the beginning, and then come that third quarter, they come and take over. But that doesn't happen in life, in the economy. That we're in the third quarter, and we're still losing. We're in the fourth quarter, we're still losing. So I need y'all to understand, these tariffs are real, and there's nothing we can do about them personally, because that is out of our control. So we're going to start talking about how we can do something about surviving through this episode of life. That's what we're going to have to talk about. So we're going to have to go back to talking about getting this money. So my next video, stay tuned, learn more about getting this money. Thank y'all for watching.